For this part of our lesson today, we're going to be learning about color wheels. And we're going to talk about our color wheel and how we use the primary colors to create secondary colors. So I have a video here about our primary colors and how mixing them creates our color wheel. And I also have a fun read aloud that we're going to be reading that's called Mixed by Ari Chung. So let's get started with those two videos, as well as jumping into our art lesson where we create a color wheel around our own type of animal. The first thing I'm going to be giving you today is a piece of paper that has a 8-inch circle around. We're using a 9 by 12 piece of paper, so this circle looks really big. It could be, plate size or bowl size, whatever you're feeling to. But inside the circle, I want you to try to draw a smaller circle because that's going to be the head of an animal that your choice. Could be an animal, could be a monster, could be whatever you're thinking. So for me, I'm thinking I might put a fox in here because I know I've had my dogs or even my cats needing to wear a cone at some point or another. And I thought, I haven't done a fox or something. So maybe this fox has to wear a cone and I'm going to make it a rainbow one. So what I want you to do is starting with a pencil inside of that circle, start adding in, the eyes, the nose, the mouth, and even the ears. And then we'll work on the body after. But all I want you to focus on at this time is adding in the details of just the head inside of this big circle. So take that time now to add those details. Go nice and slow. Remember, draw light, and that way you can erase anything that you don't like. Now that I've finished my face, what we're going to work on next is creating our color wheel. So we want to divide this circle into 6 different pieces. So we're going to draw a line going down the center, and you can either use a ruler or you can use your green art folder that you have to help you draw a straight-edged line. Using my ruler, what I'm going to do is draw a straight line down the middle, but you don't want to go through your animal's head. And then what we'll do after that is make an X shape. So the first thing I want you to do is line up your ruler or your folder and draw a line to the top of your head and then from the bottom half of it straight down. So you can see I have a line going through, but not through my head. And now what we're going to do is add in the X shape. So I'm going to have my ruler on a diagonal line. So remember, we've worked on vertical and we've done horizontal lines. Right now we're doing a diagonal line. So we're going to draw one and then turn and do the other side for your diagonal. Remember not to go through your character. Go nice and slow. And you should have 6 spaces, 3 on the left and 3 on the right, as you can see. So what we'll do now is we're going to create the body of our animal. And I did a very tiny head, but you can add in and make the bottom half larger if you need, or, work on whatever type of animal body you're thinking of. I'll have some examples in the room for you to see, but just give yourself your animal a body. Right now I'm doing a line, I'm adding in a tail. I know it's harder to see because I'm doing it in pencil and going nice and light, but take your time with adding in your details. Remember, beautiful oopses are awesome. Once you've done the body, then on the background, you can start adding in your own line designs. So you can go in and add in some different wavy lines or curly lines or geometric shapes, whatever you think to kind of fill the blank space. You could even come up with your own scene or just anything to really just stand out for your background. Once you're done, what you're going to do next is take a permanent marker and you're going to outline all of your pencil lines. So start out where you feel most comfortable. I tend to start off in a spot where my hands, because as a lefty, I kind of drag over things. So why not you take this time to, work on the space by you. I rotate my paper so that way I don't get anything out of the way and where I smudge it. And then I'm working on my final details on the inside. Now that we have that basic part of just the black and white, we're going to start adding in with markers our primary colors. So on your color wheel, I want you to take out your primary, the red, yellow, and blue. And what we're going to do is mark them on our color wheel. So do a red space, yellow space, blue. And we're doing that because then we're going to mix our other colors. So the first thing I want to show you is when using your marker, you want to make thick lines. So your marker does a great job of doing thin and thick. And then I want you to practice outlining. So using your marker, kind of angle it on its side and draw towards you. So see how I'm rotating my paper? I'm going nice and slow. I'm drawing it towards myself. And all I want you to do is go up and down nice and slow using your marker and have it almost like it's leaning a little bit. And you're going to see a really beautiful way of coloring with your marker. If your marker is a little bit dry, don't worry. So if you're seeing white marks showing through it, that's okay because we are going to be using water to turn our markers into a watercolor paint. So the next color I'm going to do is my blue. Same thing. I'm going to do a thick line. I'm going to outline around my character first, and I'm staying inside my space. Turn your paper and always have your hand going towards you. So if you want to color it in this way, you can just go up and down. And same thing that we did with the red. Go in and try to do your best with going nice and slow. It's really hard to go slower at first versus going fast. But the more you practice it, the better you're going to realize your hand is at drawing really good details. So go nice and slow and fill in all of those spaces. Again, don't worry if any white is showing. Finally, we're going to be using our yellow. So you'll notice again that we skipped a space. We marked it first to help us. And now we're going to be coloring in the last primary color, which is yellow. So take your time. Yellow shows up a little bit lighter, so you can actually speed up how you color on this one. But remember, outline first, then fill. Now that we have our primary colors done, what we're going to do is color in one of the other squares or spaces. So between the yellow and blue, we're going to put the lightest color first because we're going to mix colors. And it's a lot easier to go darker with the color than it is to go lighter. So I want you to take your yellow and you're going to color in this space again, but this time it's yellow. And you can go really fast on this. Don't worry if you miss spots, that's completely fine. Once you filled it in with yellow, I want you to take your blue and put it on top. It doesn't have to be covering the whole thing, so you can leave some spaces. You can kind of think that, when you put it on there, you might start seeing it turn green, which is really cool. You don't want to do too many zigzags, but that could be part of your design inside of your color wheel too. So after you've done that one, what I want you to do is now go between the yellow and the red. So make sure you're following correctly, the yellow and the red. We are going to put the yellow down first because it's a really bright, light color. And if we put yellow on top of a red, our yellow would get dirty. But if we put a red on top of a yellow, red is stronger, so it wouldn't get dirty on our marker. So now take your red, and you're going to put it on top of the yellow, and you're going to see it turning orange. Isn't that amazing? We're making our secondary colors. Now, does anybody remember what red and blue make? Well, red is the lighter color, right? So we want to use red first because blue is probably darker than red on the markers. So what I want you to do now is you're going to color in, you guessed it, this one red. So try to color in, by outlining again, then filling it in with red. Now that you have that part done, take your blue and put the blue on top of the red. So I'm just going nice and close. I'm kind of doing my lines, and you can see it looks a little sloppy, but that's okay. Now comes your choice. So for the background, what I'm going to do is we're going to leave our animals black and white. But the design that we did, we're going to use any colors. So use whatever colors that you have of your markers, and we're going to put only lines. We're not going to be coloring it in. So I want you to watch this first. I'm going to take my markers and I'm going to outline over my lines, but I want you to use it really thick lines. So if you have skinny markers, make sure that you make your lines really thick, like go over it a couple times. But if you have the thicker markers, use the side of them. So I chose to use my secondary colors here. I don't have to mix them, I'm just going to put them on. So as you can see, I'm outlining them in a nice thick line. You could do it on top and underneath the permanent marker. It's your choice. So take this time now to just go over all of your details with really thick lines. The thicker, the better for the next part. For this final part, we're just going to be using a paintbrush and water. And all we're going to do is wake up our markers. So the first time we put the water on, you're going to notice, even on my paper here, it's not really moving very well. It just takes a little bit of time to wake up the marker. So what I do is I put the water on. I'm very gentle so I don't rip my paper. And then I'm going to move on to another side. So I'm just going to let that sit for a little bit, and I'm going to go over to my green area, and you'll notice that the blue on the yellow here is mixing to green really well. So I'm going to also let that sit just a little bit longer too. I'm nice and gentle because I don't want to push too hard. I'll rip my paper. So I think this just adds to more of the character. You're practicing blending colors and mixing them. Here's the red and yellow, which makes orange. As you can see, it blends really pretty. So if you ended up doing a little bit more coloring in, you'll see it a lot better. But you don't want to go back over with marker because your marker won't work if it touches all that water. So now I'm just going back and I'm just re-waking up with a little bit more water some of my other areas. I'm going nice and gentle. And I'm going to let those sit there and kind of soak for a little bit. And I'm just going to gently wake up my lines and everything of where I put my marker down on the rest of my paper. So just remember those thick lines that we did. Right now I'm filling in all that purple. And then rinse your brush. You don't need to get fresh water if it's dirty, that's okay. And then I'm going to just wake up all those green areas over here that I did, and you'll see how it just spreads like paint so nicely. And that's what your other colors on your color wheel are going to do. So take this time now to just wake up the rest of your paints, and you'll see your color wheel coming together. Once you're done, all I need you to do is put your project on the dry rack. Double check that your name is on there somewhere. You could even hide it inside your animal on the front. If you know some of the areas you were working on before, if you want to go back and just try to gently wipe on them to wake them up a little bit more and spread them, you can absolutely do that. But leave your animal nice and black and white, and just put your water cup in the sink, dump the water, you'll see everything, and put your project on the dry rack.